Hey guys, so I'm a huge complexion freak. I love complexion products. I love concealers, foundations, that kind of stuff, right? So I wanted to come on here today and show y'all how I get the most flawless base possible, all right? I wear a lot of makeup, and one thing I like is that even though I do wear a ton of makeup, my makeup never looks too heavy, if that makes sense. Okay, so just gonna run you through a more in-depth foundation routine, since I think the last one that I have on my channel is from like 2012 or maybe 2011 or something. So I kind of needed to update y'all on how I do this in depth. I post makeup tutorials, but y'all know it's not, I don't really talk through it or whatever. So of course, first things first, skincare is huge, okay? So if you're not taking care of your skin, there's nothing that foundation, concealer, corrector, anything like that can do if you're not taking care of your skin, okay? So please, please get a solid foundation, a solid skincare routine before you try to cover up anything with foundation. Yes, it helps. My skin's not perfect. Y'all can see I have, you know, marks. I pick and all kind of stuff or whatever, but my skincare it's getting there, okay? So I'm not breaking out as much as I did, and I mean, I do have marks, but the kind of skin that I have, even if I don't pick at my acne, I'm still going to have marks, which is unfortunate, but thanks genetics. Okay, so I just want to say that foundation, concealer, corrector is not going to cover up texture. It's not going to, you know, it's not going to make your skin underneath be awesome. So work towards awesome regular skin, okay, before you try to mimic that with foundation, okay? All right, PSA. Okay, so to start, I'm oily, all right? So if you're dry, this probably isn't gonna be for you, just because I do have to prep my skin a lot, and I know dry folks do too, but for my oily skin, I must use a primer that is kind of focused towards oily skin, okay? So I talked about in my favorites video, I'll link it up here, how I've been kind of doing something different with my skin, and I've been treating my skin like it's a bit more drier. So I'm using heavier moisturizer, that kind of thing. But if I want my base to last and get the most flawless base possible, I am still going to go in with a primer that is mattifying, okay? So two of my favorites, and I do have some other ones, but I just wanted to highlight these two, are going to be Becca Evermatte, okay? Love, love, love this one. This is an OG. And then also the Hyaluronide matte, what is this? Matte 12, okay? This one has, they both have a little bit of pore filling properties, but since I do kind of have craters right here as far as pores, I do like Tarte's Clean Slate primer, okay? I do like that, all right? So first things first, my face is clean, moisturized. I'm not going outside today, so I don't have any sunscreen on, but if I did have sunscreen on, it would be my Murad Invisibler, which is a silicone based sunscreen primer thing, so it does add a little bit of pore filling, okay? Today I'm going to use Benefit's Matte Poreless. This is growing on me, guys. I said that I didn't like it and I wanted to finish it up in my panning or makeup use up type video that I did, but this is like growing on me, and it almost acts as a mattifying moisturizer, okay? So this works too, but you kind of have to, you just gotta give it time, okay? All right, so I'm gonna try not to get a lot of makeup in my hair, and I don't know if I probably didn't link it, but okay. So this wig is from Candy Coated Curls. Again, link is down in the bottom. I wore the purple one. in the last set of videos that I uploaded with the same outfit or whatever, and I don't want y'all to see my mirror. So like in my favorites video and that kind of stuff, this last spring look that I did, I had the purple one on, and this one is the mint one, and I'm channeling unicorns today. All right, so primer is on and it's set, okay? And like I said, the Benefit one is a bit more of a matte primer. Gonna go in with the Tarte Clean Slate. This one is gonna fill in my pores, so I am putting it down in my center region, okay? I don't want to get it up by my face, by my eyes, but my nose and then down my cheeks, okay? And Benefit Professional is okay, but this one, in my opinion, is so much better, and it just fills everything in really well, and it does give you that kind of, you see how I'm kind of matte. So you see how we're kind of matte right here where I added the Tarte primer, and make sure you rub it out real good or really well. Okay, so next, if you're like me and you do have a bit of darkness under my eyes, aren't too dark, but I do still add just a little bit, just right here, but I do have some acne marks where stuff, just like I said, I scar no matter what. So you do need to find a good corrector. So correctors are to cancel out whatever colors are underneath. So if you were red, okay, if you had like a pimple or something that was red, you'd want to use a green. Get a color wheel, Google a color wheel, print out a color wheel, whatever color you have on your face, the redness, the green's going to be the opposite side of the color wheel to that red. So that's what you use to cancel, okay? So a lot of times the darkness that we have are not, it's more of a blue base darkness, okay? So whether it's the darkness under your eyes, which is just from the thinness of the skin there, and you can see the blood vessels. We all know blood is, you know, bluish or whatever underneath the skin before it hits oxygen or whatnot. And then your dark marks aren't, you know, black or whatever. They do have a bluish kind of base to them, okay? So for me, for my skin tone, I do look for an orange corrector, okay? LA Girl has an orange corrector, Lancome has an orange corrector, Koivoka has an orange corrector. Those are kind of the, I'm looking over here because that's where all my stuff is. So those are correctors that I enjoy, that I use, okay? I am a big proponent of, if you need to mix your own stuff, mix your own stuff within reason and within keeping in mind that things, different products may expire at different times, and just knowing that you need to use your stuff up, right? So what I did, I took MAC's Studio Sculpt Concealer, which I had in NC50, and I added a little bit of Lancome's concealer, the Tint Idol concealer that they have. I don't have it in front of me, sorry guys. And I added a bit of that and mixed it in with a spatula, because I had a little bit of the Studio Sculpt concealer. It's not a concealer that I use regularly, so I figured I could use it like that. So this one gives me a good tone, and since this is my personal one, I do just dip my brush in it. I use a dome brush. Any brush that has a dome to it, I like to apply this kind of stuff. And what I do is I just go directly on top of where needs the concealing, and you see how that kind of cancels it out, right? And then really what you want to do is pat it out to the point where there is, what you want it to look like is that you've just canceled out and it's almost your skin, okay? So this does leave me with a little bit of redness or a little bit of orangeness, so it's not as close to my skin color as it should be. If I was to add a little bit more of the actual concealer color, my skin color, my NC50 back into it, it would do that, but I'm fine with this just because my foundation will even out and neutralize it, okay? So I just go through and I'm sorry guys, I'm still kind of sick. It's been a week, but still a little bit sick. So I just go through and see wherever I have marks that I want to cover up. And this is for like events, or if I'm going out and I want to look just snatched, beat, all that stuff. This is not something that I would do just every day, okay? First of all, I don't wear makeup every day. So first of all, I don't wear makeup every day. So there's that. And then second of all, I mean, most people don't get super beat like every day or whatever. I do go through and conceal my mustache, because I mean, that's darkness also. And then a little bit right under my eyes. Right? And so you don't want it to be super orange, because then your foundation has to work double time to cover up, or not cover up, yeah, cover up. So your foundation has to work double time to neutralize that orangeness. And then if you don't have a really good foundation that's full coverage and all that jazz, it might not, and you might see orange popping through your base, which is not cute, y'all. It's not cute. So I'm just going through and covering up places that, you know, I find the darkness to be there, okay? So next, for my flawless base, I'm gonna go in and powder, okay? Like I said, I'm oily, so prior to putting down a layer of foundation, I will go in and powder. So the powder that I'm using is Fashion Fair's golden powder. Okay, this is the powder that I've been using under my eyes, and it's also a oil control powder. Okay, again, if you are dry, please find somebody that's dry that can guide you in the right direction. I personally think if you were dry, if I was dry, what I would do at this step, I would add like a Mario Badescu rose water spray, or something that is a moisture spray. Cinema Secrets makes a really nice moisture spray, something that will just add a little bit of moisture back into your skin before you go and put on your foundation. Okay, so I'm just going to press this golden powder into my skin with a puff. Okay, and so this also is going to kind of set where we put our corrector. Okay, so that's going to add just another kind of protection to our skin, so that, not protection, but it's going to set that corrector so that when we do go ahead and put on our foundation or whatever, the correcting liquid or corrector that you used isn't going to move around. Okay. So kind of let that kind of seep in or whatnot. So once you kind of let that powder stay on your skin, next is foundation. Okay, this is Bay. I've talked about this many times. Estee Lauder Double Wear is my all-time favorite full coverage foundation. Okay, if I need to look beat, snatched, however we want to describe it, on fleek, if I want to have people shook, all those buzzwords that we use nowadays, this is what I use. Okay, it is a very matte foundation. It is one of the only foundations that does not seep into lines. It does not move. I have wore this foundation for 20 hours before, and my base looked just as good, just a little bit oily in my nose, but of course that's to be expected. But my base looked just as good. Okay, so I wonder if I have any left in this. I'm trying to finish this, y'all. I'm trying to finish this. I'm really on a mission to finish my products. Okay, so I'm not a brush person. Some people like this with a brush. I don't. I like this just with my sponge. Okay, and you can choose whatever sponge you want to. I am going to trying to get it out of the bottle, y'all. And I have a palette. Y'all know that's how I use my stuff. And I'm going to use my big ol' Real Technique sponge. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pat it onto my skin, okay? Okay, so you want to make sure that you really get into the crevices. So I don't think it's deep set, but right here on the corner of my nose will kind of get weird looking, okay? So I always make sure that I really get in there, okay? So if you were using something that's a little bit more medium coverage and you wanted to build it up to full coverage, what I would do here is spray with a sealing spray or a mattifying spray and then add another layer, okay? So what I'm going to do, since I'm not adding another layer, this is very full coverage. Y'all can see it's pretty darn full coverage, right? So I'm gonna go in with my Scandinavia oil control spray and I am going to spray it. Do I have my fan here? So I'm just gonna spray my Scandinavia spray. All right, so then for concealer, holy grail concealer. I know Tarte, we have issues with Tarte, I understand. This is still my holy grail. And what I do, I take it and I put it directly under my eyes. If I wanted to do an ultra highlighted look, I would get the tan sand color. I'm not going for super highlighted today. So I am just placing that directly under my eyes. I need to take the stopper off because I'm not getting a lot. I'm almost done with this bottle. And this is how I do my base. Do your base or do your highlighting concealer however you see fit. I'm not here to police folks on their makeup, okay? All right, and I kind of let that marinate. I am going to put a little bit on my eyes because I haven't done my eyeshadow. Typically, I do my eyeshadow before my base because that's what I like, okay? So you kind of let this marinate a little bit, let it kind of, you know, settle or whatever, so you can get the most payoff for the color that you have. Unless you're using a quick drying concealer like the Beauty Bakery or something like that, then by all means blend your stuff because you're gonna be stuck, okay? So I like beauty blenders for this. If I had a smaller Real Technique sponge, then I would use that for this also, but I'll just dirty this one up. And I go and I literally just press. Okay, so once I pounce that all out, I go back with the sponge that I use for my foundation and I go around the edges of everywhere that I pounced out and just kind of meld it, okay? What I like is that stuff is seamless, all right? Okay, so next is contour, right? So that's basically the highlighting foundation part, okay? For cream contour, before you set your face, if that's what you choose to do, I've been loving Teak by Fashion Fair. My favorite way to use cream contour is, this brush feels like it's about to fall apart, is to kind of get it on the brush first, right? An angled brush or even a flat, like a brush that's flat, and get it on there and then take the brush and go in the places where I want to contour. I always bring my contour here, around here, and then here and here. different shade face, do it different. Of course, figure out what works for you, figure out what looks best for you. And I literally just take it and pounce and pounce and then bring it around. Okay, then I go back again with the same blender that I used to put down my foundation and blend the edges of that out. I never want anything to look harsh, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, and then I make sure that everything under my eyes is still smooth and has not sunk in. And I go in with a highlighting powder. I'm using Fashion Fair Golden, and I place that under my eyes. And I don't like to bake per se. I like to press in and then be done. My under eyes are very dry, so if I were to bake, it just would not look the best. And so I literally press the powder in with a moist beauty blender and I'm done. I can't bake anymore. And then I take the same powder and place in the areas that I highlighted. Okay. And then for the rest of my face, I use another loose powder. I've been liking Danessa Myricks Evolution powder. And I'm gonna take this on a, you can either take a brush that is flat, kind of looks like a powder puff, or an actual powder puff. I'm gonna take an actual powder puff because the way that the cap on this one is, it's very, and I just dumped it out. It's very odd. So I'm gonna take it on a powder puff, and what I do, I put it down and then I kind of rub it into my powder puff, right? So I can get a good kind of coating, so when I go to press, it presses in evenly, okay? And I go around the perimeter wherever I did not put that highlighting powder. So if you had a like powder puff or a brush or something, you could kind of eliminate the kind of, ooh. Okay, so that's what it looks like pressed in, all right? Then I take my spray again. All right, so that is how I do my base for the for the most flawless type finish. Okay, I will be spraying my face one more time after I get through with everything else that I'm doing. This is no eyebrows, no blush, no nothing. This is my base only. All right, so all right guys, hope you enjoyed, hope this helps someone. Of course, this was for oily skin. If you're drier, just the steps where I mattified, you might want to add moisture. So a moisturizing primer, dewy, those kind of words are kind of key words for dry skin people. So wherever, like I said, wherever I mattified, moisturize. And yeah, so hope this helps someone, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.